Hi everyone, welcome to Treya Tarot. This is the collective reading for Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. I just want to say that as I started the reading this morning, I actually just putting a marker here so I know where to put the cards. I actually lost control of all the cards and they flew out everywhere all over my floor. So today's energy is a little interesting, or at least that's a good start to today's energy. So I'm using the Morgan-Greer today, mostly because it was the second one in the lineup. I have all my decks laid out in front of me off camera so that I can pick intuitively for each reading. And this is the one that I chose. Okay, so let's see what we have on the slate for today. Ooh, okay, so yesterday we came up with the Two of Swords upright, which I find is interesting. So that's your starting point for today's reading, was the decision that set you free. If you watched yesterday's reading, there was a clear marker of a intuitive decision illuminating the truth for you so that you could set yourself free from anxiety. Yes, okay, very good. So that decision, once completed, leads you to look towards a different future. And I think that's the point, is that the new future, the new move, the new space for you is something you're going to go out and create or go out and find, as opposed to wish for and hope it comes to you kind of thing. There's a much more active process here now. And as I said, I don't know if it was Friday or Monday, but as I said, I expected the cards to start shifting this week because there's been sort of a theme for the past couple of weeks, and these cards are different. Okay, these are cards of active participation in a way that hasn't shown up much recently. The Magician, yeah, there's definitely some choices being made. I have said that before this week. There's definitely choices being made, and there's this clear movement away from self-imposed restriction, which may mean that the restriction seems to be external, and the move is actually knowing how to get around that external restriction from within. That Magician tells me that the antidote to this stress of feeling bound by something or unable to get out of your own way of thinking or an old way of experiencing the world is counteracted by the creation process, by bringing the intuitive knowledge down into you as a vessel and working your magic, so to speak. The Strength card reverse tells me that this doesn't take much discipline to accomplish either. So it seems to me like this reading, as it relates to yesterday's reading, is that the new goal or dream, the new union, the new relationship, whatever theme this is bringing up for you, is best achieved by not fighting and just getting good at your practice, leaving behind your own limiting belief structures, things like that. King of Rods, the Ace of Cups reversed. Wow. Oh, okay. So there's a bit of confrontation here. And I'm not surprised to see that entirely because of, was it Monday's square? There was a Jupiter-Saturn square on Monday. So King of Rods is the adventurer. The Ace of Cups and the Ten of Swords tell me that the adventurer's weakness is always thinking that it's out there. It's somewhere else. The Ace of Cups reverse tells me that there's a yearning for stability. There's a sort of I don't want to say rejection, but that's the word that's coming to mind. There's a rejection of the wandering spirit. In replacement of that, there's a process of facing the ways in which this was an escapism factor, or an escape from reality, or from what we actually were really trying to create. So it seems to me that to get to the new, to get to these new beginnings, we're actually having to face the ways in which we kind of tricked ourselves or fed ourselves illusions that were actually self-detrimental or binding when they didn't need to be, because what we're actually looking for is available to us, kind of thing. This feels very collective. It feels like the change, like a sea change in a way. It feels like a sea change from individualism to collectivism. It feels like a sea change from confusion to certainty, from overtly logical thinking to intuition, or what's the last one that was coming to mind? The change from escapism to facing who you are. And that inherently keeping us from repeating the pattern over again. So the Knight of Rods reversed tells me that what you're looking for is at home. So at least for this week's process, for what's coming through in my cards, it's found at home. It's reminding me of a turn of phrase that I once heard. I think they call it Dorothy syndrome. The idea that everything's always out there. That's what this means. Okay. But it seems like what you're actually going to be searching for, what you're searching for is actually right there with you. And you have to just see it. Stop running from something. Stop always looking for the good, the better way out kind of thing. Your new beginning, your real gift is right with you somehow. Yeah, Knight of Swords. Once you can see what the gift is, I don't see any barriers showing up after that. So it seems like once you know which direction you're actually headed in, you're charging forward. Your mind changes right away, and you're off and running in that direction. This is interesting. I want to pull a couple more cards. So I'm just going to clear this out of the way so that we can see it without the jumble of the other cards underneath it. I'll leave the 10 of Cups visible because why not? I love the 10 of Cups. All right. Yeah. Wow, that Sun card. Ooh. All right, so there's a process here with these three. A process of not knowing the truth, feeling this anxiety over missing information, and then getting that missing information and having to release yourself from it. There's a process that seems to be that we may have been going through repeatedly for a long time, having to do with, not knowing which way to go, not having an open door, not having the opportunity that we need to move forward, but knowing what those things that we need might be. Help, transformation, and this is, miserliness, can be jealousy, can also be withholding. So purposefully blinding yourself to the open opportunities behind you or around you because you're too focused on not losing what you already have. This to me is ringing real true of our general society, of the way Americans live, particularly. And I think that this is about to be challenged in terms of the way we see ourselves as individuals in that larger scope of things, because mutual help is not something that we tend to engage in this on the same level that we need it. So don't be surprised if you end up really desiring to engage in mutual aid and mutual help with the people around you in your community. The transformation is really about opening your heart and opening your resources, sharing of resources. So keep that in mind. The overturning of this sort of murky process of constantly having to fight off restrictions or anxieties, of constantly having to find your way around uncomfortable blockages, is actually mutual help and sharing. Almost sounds like something we learned in preschool, right? Justice, and then the Ace of Swords. Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's themes of unfairness here. There's themes of not knowing how to express that unfairness. Ooh, all right. So, karma again. I will say that there is some sort of karmic rectification here, where manipulators, liars, people who tend to float under the radar in an effort to protect themselves, people who aren't showing their authenticity to the world, are about to get the chance to show up and uncover that aspect of themselves. So I don't see this as something like, yes, I mean, certain people might be quote unquote revealed. You might find that in your life, particularly that, again, that you might hear of somebody receiving a karmic balancing experience, especially if it's somebody who hurt you. But on a collective level, this is actually about bringing everyone into the fold. That's what this feels like to me. This whole reading feels like a shift from individualism to helping people heal, even if they are were previously on the less, I don't know, less acceptable side of the equation. That's the best way I can say it. I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but it seems to me that we may see an influx of people who would be traditionally seen as narcissistic or using or manipulative actually being brought to their moment where they have to reset some of that. Now, I'm not talking about people who can't reset some of that. Obviously, narcissism and things like that, they're on a spectrum as well. So it's like, people who have tendencies can unlearn them. People who have personality disorders, on the other hand, need treatment. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than that. I'm specifically talking about people who bought into the idea that individualism is the way forward, because it's clear to me that collectively we need more mutual receptivity. And that mutual receptivity is actually what changes the physical reality for many of us. And for those of us who are already shifting in that way, we may be called to bring people who we think wouldn't be inclined to shift with us forward into the fold. So if you find yourself feeling the urge to welcome in people you wouldn't normally welcome in, just make sure you're doing it from a place of consciousness, and don't take responsibility for things that aren't yours in this way. Don't take responsibility for their stuff, but you can still share what you know with them, kind of thing. So there's some complexity here. I would love to hear how this plays out in people's lives. I can see how this might factor into my own. So, well, I'm hoping everybody uses this energy to its best expression, and that it's of some comfort to know that we're all, or many of us, are experiencing similar things. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a really good day. All right. Bye.